Hi, I'm Reza and this is a PSTO workshop on modeling. What is modeling? Modeling is the role of the Prime Minister in the beginning of their first speech to basically clarify the details of the motion in order to have a clean and fair debate. Many times when you get a motion, some of the details are going to be unclear, undefined, or can be seen in more than one way. It is your job as Prime Minister to define these terms or parts of the motion and make sure everyone is on the same page and can have a clear and understanding debate. So for example, with "this House believes that violent protests are legitimate," you have to define who is the House, who is the stakeholder that is debating this, from whose opinion are we trying to figure out if this is a yes or a no. And basically you try to do this by figuring out who is a relevant stakeholder or who is a relevant place or person or body or whatever it is to be debating about this, and who makes the debate fair. Secondly, you just want to define the different parts of the resolution that may be a little bit unclear. For example, what counts as a violent protest? Is it just stuff that hurts other people? Can it be other quote-unquote violent actions like tearing down a statue? What counts and what doesn't? And also stuff like, what is legitimate? What are we debating about here? Clarifying all these terms makes it so that everyone knows they're debating about the exact same thing and makes it everyone on the same page and makes a clear debate. Next are points of clarification. Points of clarification are basically when you don't understand a certain part of a resolution, a model, or just something that's unclear with the debate. So you stand up and you verbally say point of clarification or verbally say POC, and the Prime Minister has to accept it. At that point, you ask a point of clarification in which you literally just ask them for clarification on a certain part of the debate. You have to be very careful that you are not trying to make an argument here. So be careful about mixing up a point of information and a point of clarification. And here's the difference. A point of clarification can be made anytime during a speech, even during unprotected time. However, a point of information can only be done during unprotected time. A point of clarification is done simply to clarify terms or aspects of the debate for clarity. A point of information is made to make an argument and poke a hole in the other person's speech. A point of clarification is done by getting up and verbally saying POC or verbally saying point of clarification, while for point of information you just stand up. And a point of clarification cannot be rejected within reason. A point of clarification can only be rejected if it's done obstructively or in bad nature. So for example, you've already misused it or you've done it 5 times in a row, which at that point is just hurting the debate. A point of information, however, can be rejected at any time. A speaker is only expected to accept 1 or 2 per speech depending on which foreign debate. Also, points of clarification are better to bring up earlier in the debate. So typically in the beginning of a Prime Minister's speech is best, and any later on you do it, it's worse. However, if there's ever a part of the debate you do not understand, please do give a point of clarification so you at least can have a clean debate. An example of a point of clarification is, who is the House? This is done purely for clarifying measures and has no advantage whatsoever other than learning who the House is. An example of a point of information is, won't this raise crime? That isn't done for clarity, but is for rather trying to poke a hole in the other person's argument and make some sort of argument of your own. That's not allowed during point of clarifications. So basically, when it comes to modeling, even if you aren't the Prime Minister yourself, you can have your own role in it by making sure everything in the debate is clear. So when it comes to time usage, or how much time you should spend during your speech or during prep time, doing your models, there's no general guidelines for that either. Generally, just to ask yourself, have I modeled enough? Is everything clear? And are people going to understand and have a clean debate? If the answer is yes, then you can move on. If the answer is no, you have to keep on modeling. While this sounds a little bit complicated, it actually ends up being pretty intuitive, and you'll pick it up during your time debating. Even if you don't, judges will commonly give you feedback on that after rounds, and you can easily put that back into your debating afterwards. Don't worry, it's easy to pick up on. And finally, just don't scroll. Scrolling is essentially when you model the round in a way that either A, makes it absolutely absurd, or B, makes it completely unfair to your side. This can either happen on purpose or accidentally. An example is, this House would allow race-changing surgeries. That's a fine resolution by itself. It's fair, it's contentious. However, when you squirrel it by, for example, saying, oh, these surgeries are going to be insanely cheap and accessible, They're also going to be completely safe. No one can ever be injured. And no one's ever going to be coerced into it. It's going to be completely fine. Then, that basically makes race-changing surgeries nearly perfect and makes it very hard for opposition to make any sort of arguments against you. Even minor forms of squirreling will be caught by the judge and will heavily penalize you for it, likely leading you in your loss. So try to make sure that you are modeling rounds in a fair way that gives each side a fighting chance. If you have any more questions, you can go to publicschoolsdebating.org, find other resources to help you or your club grow at debating, and good luck on debate in your future career.